Welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show, seen Wednesdays on the Sports Collectors Daily Facebook page and the Great American Collectibles Facebook page. You can also listen to us on iHeartRadio, Pandora, and Spotify. The Great American Collectibles Show is brought to you by the National Sports Collectors Convention and Sports Collectors Daily. Tonight's headlines are brought to you by Sports Collectors Daily. For all of your hobby news, features, and more, go to sportscollectorsdaily.com. And now your hosts, Tom Zappala and Boston sports personality, John Mallory.
JM, what's going on, brother?
How you been, Zap? What's new?
Not too bad, not too bad. Just sitting here, had a nice coffee, had a nice blueberry muffin from Panera. Very, very
That's
enjoyable.
Great.
Very
That's
$4.50 for a freaking blueberry muffin that is the size of a golf ball, man. What is happening to this world?
the price is getting bigger. The food is getting smaller, man. Have you seen a Suzy Q lately? Come on.
I have not. but I have seen a ring ding, and they're freaking small. And I agree with you 100%.
Right. They used to be like hockey pucks. You know, now they're like Oreos, for God's sake.
But that's another
How
thing.
come no one has brought this up in any of the presidential speeches?
That's a good question and very good point. Very good point. Welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show. Tom Zappala, my good friend and co-host, John Mallory. Again, working from the house. We're not gonna get into why. That's just
we don't need to.
Right. Just keep.
There's a lot going on right now.
Right. Keep in mind that he does in fact have an ankle bracelet on, so that'll give you some indication as to what's going on. I'm just kidding.
It is what it is.
All right. Listen, we have a great show today. Our first guest, you can see him, handsome guy. You know, he looks like an attorney.
Where? He does.
Kaplan from Tobacco Row. Tobacco Row, I'm a personal fan of Tobacco Row. When you look at all the different Facebook hobby groups in the vintage market, the guys in Tobacco Row, they're all the experts. It's a team of experts. They all know what the hell they're talking about, and they're vintage guys. Our main guest today, the two titans. I'm calling them now the two titans of the vintage world. This week, all over the hobby news, a big merger between Clean Sweep Auction and Leland's called the Collectors First Auction Group. We're going to be bringing in our good friends, Mike Hefner and Steve Verkman. Steve from Clean Sweep, Mike from Leland's, and they have merged like two titans.
That's huge news, Zap. That's like big time.
It's like the guy from what's his name, Putin. It's like Putin
yeah.
And who's the guy from China? What's his name? He, whatever his name is. It's like those two guys.
Yes, it's he, we, he. That's
right. It's like those two guys merging. All right, let's get to Jay. Jay, we love Tobacco Row. I love Tobacco Row. I'm very partial to it. I don't comment on that because I don't think it's in my bailiwick to do so. However, I love reading the post, and you guys have a great group of people. Tell us about TR first. Tell us about Tobacco Row. Are you one of the? Are you an administrator?
No, I'm just some guy. I will talk about not my Facebook group that I don't administer, but I am a part of. So anyway, I guess Tobacco Row is part of a really awesome community on Facebook and also on Instagram and Twitter and elsewhere, but just sort of broadly on social media. Really awesome community of guys and gals who have gotten together to discuss and share love for, in this case, pre-war baseball cards. It's a 500, 600 person group, deliberately small, but very friendly, really strong camaraderie. And folks really care about each other, helping each other in collecting endeavors or, answering questions, sharing information. But just more broadly, even, outside of Tobacco Row, there are a number of public and excellent groups where you can, gather information, ask questions, talk to experts, and just, share the love of collecting with other similar-minded people.
Now, you have a pretty extensive collection yourself. Why don't you tell us about that?
I do. I've made it my interest over the last couple of years to spend all of my money on baseball cards. I started with T206s when I was a kid a long while ago. And then when I came back to the hobby, I immediately picked up the 520. I spent a long time building a T206 set with rare backs. That took a number of years. Along the way, I picked up some back runs, so I built a grouping of all of Walter Johnson's T206 backs. There are 31 of them. After a number of years with T206s, I branched out a bit to some other sets. I've also spent time doing 1914 Cracker Jacks, E94s, and some of the non-sports sets that are extremely hot right now.
JM?
Yeah, Jay, so we talk a lot about on this show about young collectors finding vintage cards, getting into vintage as opposed to just what's in the headlines today. And you just said you started as a kid. So as a kid, what brought you to the T206? What brought you to vintage cards as opposed to just collecting contemporary stars at the local card shop?
It's a great question. I arrived at vintage pretty early. I saw some tobacco cards in House of Cards, which is Huggins and Scott's physical store back before there were Huggins and Scott. And I saw some tobacco cards that they had up on the wall. And they were, different size and different layout, different artwork. It was just totally different from the shiny in the early 2000s, even before it sort of went mass produced with a million sets. There's still a lot of sets, a lot of inserts, autographs, jersey cards. I dabbled a bit in that, but I started collecting the tobacco cards just because they were so unique. You couldn't find them everywhere, and it was sort of a capture to the past era of baseball. I'm a big history fan, baseball, American history, and it was just a natural fit for me. Really
cool. Jay, I have a question. Someone said that your nickname is Tape Measure.
Oh my goodness! So following around in some of these groups, guys are aware of purchases that people make, and I had shared a long string of large purchases. And someone has been following me around with the tape measure as a joke. Yes, it's held on for a little while.
So you could have said it was your home run hitting prowess, but you were honest. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I kept it clean.
The T206 set is very close to my heart, as I think you know. But I'll tell you what I don't have a great knowledge of, and I know Paul is it Misfud? I know
Misfud.
Yeah, he's a big collector of T206 signed cards. Do you know much about that? I mean, how many are out there, or how many are not out there? Do you have any idea, Jay?
So Paul is the mega expert. I'm gonna try to not mangle this too much, but there are a handful of signed T206 cards, probably in the 50 to 100 or 150 range, of which a whole bunch are Snodgrass and Larry Doyle and Rube Marquardt, some of the guys that lived into the 70s and 80s. They're really cool. I do not have any, and actually I'll share why I don't have any. I used to have two, but a couple of years ago there was a whole big scandal, and some guy in Ohio was found to be buying cards and then signing them himself. Both of my T206 on-card autographs were a product of this guy from the Midwest. I actually found pictures of my cards before they were signed, sold on the internet.
Interesting.
Wow.
I really, I'm intrigued by that. I don't have, how many T206 cards I have left? 2.
Is that right?
Yeah. I've gotten rid of my entire collection over the years.
Really?
And the reason being is I really get into memorabilia, and I'm into memorabilia pretty heavily now. I absolutely love it. So the only two cards that I have left, I have a Walter Johnson T206 because he was always close to my heart, and then I have a Christy Mathewson. And the reason I kept a Christie is because I picked up a first edition copy of Pitching in the Pinch, signed by Christy Mathewson. So I have that in my little case with the card next to it. Those are the only two T206s I have left.
Yeah.
And Jay, did you ever get into the stories behind the players in the T206 set?
A little bit. There's the really awesome book. There's like the players and their stories. I read that. I actually might have borrowed that book from my podcast buddy and never given it back. But that's a really good book. They talk about Sam Crawford was known as Old Sam out in California. Nobody even knew he was a baseball player. I've dived a little bit in. I'm not to the level that you are, Zap. I know you've written extensively on the subject.
Yeah, no. Yeah. When we wrote, honest to God, when we wrote that book. I still regret to this day, you may be able to answer this question, Jay. There was one huge faux pas that Ellen and I made when we wrote that book. Do you know what it is?
Oh, I don't.
It was our first, keep this in mind, it was our first book. We used reprints.
Oh, I did know that. Yeah,
And I remember Joe Orlando says, why the hell are you guys using reprints? And I'm saying, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. We got skewered. For using reprints when we wrote that book. Other than that, the book did real well. That's what happens.
Jay, I had a question for Jay. So I know we talk about the books. The first book I did with Zap and Ellen and Joe actually was the Cracker Jack collection. Are you into the Cracker Jack collection? Yeah. Do you have any other cards that you have an affinity for, or are you kind of a T206 guy?
So I was a T206 sort of mega purist for a long time, but I did branch out. I started Cracker Jacks 2.5 years ago. I am 3 cards from finishing the 1914 set.
Wow.
It's not as close as it sounds. It's Mathewson and 2 real.
I was going to say, do you have the 14?
I'm not as close as it sounds.
I was going to say that because if you have the 14 Mathewson, you're in good shape.
I've got the other big ones, but I've got a little bit ways to go, despite seeming loud.
Before we let you go, when that book came out, JM and I and Ellen were invited to the Cracker Jack Collectors Convention in Philadelphia, and John, we had a blast. That's right. That was a lot of fun. That was fun. It was a huge group of people that collected Cracker Jack memorabilia, just memorabilia. Right. It was wild.
So that's broader than cards. They had all sorts of
everything
toys
you can think of. Everything you can think of.
Right.
All right. His name is Jay Kaplan, Tobacco Row. I'm speaking to not just Jay, but the guys at Tobacco Row. Guys, you're doing a great job. You're very well respected in the hobby community. And don't be cheap bastards. Next year, when you guys are at the National, we'd love to come to your luncheon, or you guys all get together for food. Right. We'll pay for our own. That's quite all right. But invite us, will you?
Zap, speak for yourself. I'd like to have my food bought for me.
That's good. All right, Jay. Nice talking to you. We love you. Take care.
Thank you for having me on.
Take care.
Thank you, Jay.
Jay Kaplan from Tobacco Row.
He's great.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
All right. So this week, all over the hobby news, it's been the story of the week, the merger between 2 vintage titans.
Yeah.
And as I said earlier, it's like a merger between Putin and Yi Wei Mi, whatever the guy is from China.
You really got to look it up during the break.
Yeah,
so
just
stop saying words that rhyme with.
It's the merger of two collectibles titans.
Yeah,
and
you're right.
The new company is called Collectors First Auction Group. We are thrilled to have 2 good friends, 2 great sponsors of the show for years, Steve Verkman of Clean Sweep Auctions and Mike Hefner from Leland's. Welcome, guys.
How are you guys doing?
Now you can, you don't have to say, you can talk at the same time. We don't care. But are you guys in the same building right now?
Same building.
See, and notice Hefner's near the cafeteria. Though.
I'm in the bowels of Leland's right now. Steve is in the upstairs apartment.
Okay. All right. We got a lot to talk about. First of all, congratulations to both of you. Steve, I got to be honest with you. When I heard the news, I was absolutely shocked that it was just something like coming from out of left field, but I think it's a great move for your company. You've been in this business for 1,000 years. Hefner's been in this business for 1,000 years. So let's talk to you first, Steve. What are your feelings about all of this? Oh, Steve, we can't hear you. All right, let's ask Hef first.
Okay, I'll go first.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Hef.
How do I feel about it? I think I've kind of made my intentions clear across the hobby for the last year. I'm restarting my life.
Yeah.
My life has been the hobby.
Yeah.
And I've learned so much. I've met so many great people, yourselves included. But it's time. I have a 19-month-old child at home. And I'm expecting another one in March. Yes, I'm an old man, but I'm having children. And that's why, but I'm good with it. It's something where I wanted to sort of reinvent my life and start over at 55.
Good
but
for
I
you.
still hear so much about this hobby and so much about Leland's. So this is a great move for me because I can step back. I can enjoy my family. I can enjoy my life. And I have someone in Steve who is a dear friend and a great, someone with great ethics, great background, great knowledge, who can take go to the head of the ship and steer the damn thing.
Right.
I have great confidence in him. And also, it's a situation where the people that work here, I love them. Every one of them I love. And Steve is keeping everything exactly the same, which means the world to me, because these people are like family to me also. So it's the perfect storm, perfect scenario. And I think things are going to go great.
Hefner, are you going to keep your toe in the water?
I'm always going to have my toe in the water, Tom. There's no way to take it out. It's like glued in there with super glue. So I can't take my toe out.
Hey.
I'm always going to be in there to a certain extent. The extent that I'm going to be in is just a little bit lesser.
Steve?
Hey, Zap, I'll go to Steve. I just want to jump in here because my first question was going to be, which one of you is Felix Unger and which one of you is Oscar Madison? But now I know you're Tony Randall because he had a kid at like 77, didn't he, or something like that? So you're definitely Tony Randall. But let's go to Steve. Steve, we just want to get your thoughts on the merger coming together. As Zap has said many times, not only two of the best in the business in terms of what you do professionally, but two of the best guys in the business. So just talk about it from your end, Steve.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I've been an admirer of the Leland's brand since at least 1992. I used to have such great memories of going to their live auctions in New York City. It was the place to be. There was so much energy. It was so much fun. I first met Mike in 1992, and we hit it off right away. And we've been very close friends since then. We've had tons of great dealings over the years, and we're personally close. So it's a great relationship. And the brand, they've done an amazing job over the years, keeping it relevant, almost starting the hobby in photographs. They're great jobs in memorabilia. They've transitioned beautifully and brilliantly into the key modern cards, being among the leaders in the business and selling that stuff. So they've just done a great job selling a, diverse portfolio of just good, great stuff. And the other thing about Leland's, I've always, I'd like to think, and I'm sure it's true, that we share the same values. We're about real stuff, no nonsense. We're not going to have puffed up descriptions. We're not going to sell questionable material as real. There's no doctoring of cards, no consignor bidding. The price is the price. The auctions are real. They're not going to have fake results on our auctions, and we'll treat people with respect and just do things the right way. And that's always been very important to me. I've always tried to model myself, after Mike and Leland's and how they do things.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, Steve, because in the years that I've been in this hobby, I don't think I've ever read just an inkling of any controversies with either Leland's or Clean Sweep Auctions, which is a feather in your cap. When this show first started, and I don't know if you know this, Steve, we're going into we've been on the air now for 8.5 years, almost 9 years. And right out of the gate, Josh Evans stepped right up to the plate, and he became a regular. Every other week he appeared on the show for about 1.5 years. And he meant so much to us because he got it. He understood what we were about, especially when Rico was on. He would sing songs, compose songs, and sing. He was very self-deprecating, which is, I think, what we're all about. And we miss him. Now, he used to come on every other week. And guess who the other guy was that used to alternate with him? Ken Golden. So Ken would come on one week, and Josh would come on another week, and all hell would break loose with both of those guys. But I miss Josh. I miss him tremendously. And I know what he meant to you, what Josh meant to you.
Yeah, I mean, and first of all, I want to address the non-controversy. We had plenty of controversy, especially when Josh was around. So, I love Josh and think about him every day, and he's definitely here with us. But Josh kept me on my toes all the time, and I owe pretty much everything to him because he started me in this business. He taught me in this business, and it's one of the reasons I'm stepping back a little bit. Is because things aren't the same. And, like I said before, I have the utmost respect for Steve, and Steve's a friend and great person, but he's not Josh, and replacing Josh is impossible. Josh was a one of a kind. I mean,
he was.
You couldn't, they broke the mold. So, as much, we had a certain synergy. I'm pretty calm. Although in my older age, I get pretty grumpy and sometimes yell at people. But, we had a synergy because I was kind of calm then and he was very high strung. And it was just such a fun time, such a fun time we had together. And I cherish and value every single moment of it.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. Steve is in the house. Hef is in the house. When we come back, we're going to chat a little bit about the structure of the new company. I don't even know I know they're two separate companies, but I read, Steve, where you're kind of structuring certain auctions at certain times. We're going to talk about that. Each one of you have your own auctions going on, which we're going to talk about. But when we come back, it's the highlight. I repeat, the highlight of the Great American Collectibles Show, Zap's Blast from the Past. And Hef, this is going to be an honor of you. Hang in there. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Curry, a two-time child cancer survivor, recipient, and advocate for Lucy's Love Bus. The mission of Lucy's Love Bus, 501c3 nonprofit, is to provide joy, comfort, and quality of life for the entire family of children with cancer. Since 2006, they have delivered love and comfort to over 3,000 children with cancer and their family members across New England. The dream of Lucy Grogan, an 11-year-old cancer patient, was to help kids with cancer who are suffering right now, before there is a cure, by offering free integrative therapies like art, music, horseback riding, and many other activities. Unfortunately, Lucy passed away, but her dream lives on, and today Lucy's Love Bus is thriving.
I'm Red Sox Hall of Famer Rico Petrocelli. I hope that you'll consider supporting Lucy's Love Bus and all of those children who have been stricken by cancer. The Great American Collectibles Show is partnering with Lucy's Love Bus to help these kids. Let's continue Lucy's dream. Please go to lucyslovebus.org for more information.
For more than 30 years, Robert Edward Auctions has been the industry leader when it comes to helping you realize the most money for your baseball cards and sports memorabilia. In addition to their unparalleled reputation for honesty and integrity, they reach the largest number of bidders in the business and offer lower seller's fees, as well as generous cash advances up front on your valuable material. Contact them today at 908-226-9900. That's 908-226-9900 or at robertedwardauction.com.
Since 1996, Brian Drent and the staff at Denver's Mile High Card Company have led the charge in the collectibles hobby. Mile High is a full-service dealer specializing in buying and selling cards and offers a competitive consignment program for all collectors. Whether it be their computerized want list service, appraisals, or auction services, Mile High has it all. If you've been searching for a company with a selection of high-grade vintage 1888 to 1970 baseball cards and memorabilia that shares your passion, aim high, mile high. Go to milehighcardco.com or call 303-840-2784 for more information.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
This is Brian Drent, president of Mile High Card Company. Is your sports card and memorabilia collection properly insured? For easily replaced personal property, homeowners insurance is all most people need. But for prized possessions that you may have spent a lifetime collecting, it doesn't go nearly far enough. Collectables Insurance Services has been insuring for over 50 years. They offer a full range of protection and a $0 deductible at an affordable rate with no appraisals required. I know because they insure my collection. If you have a minute, go to collectinsure.com and learn more about insuring.
How would you like to own the bat that was used by your favorite player when he hit that towering home run or game-winning base hit? Now look no further than JT Sports, specializing in the sale and authentication of professional game-used bats. As the official authenticators of professional model game-used bats for PSA DNA, JT Sports will guarantee the authenticity of any bat purchased from them. JT Sports also buys and sells game-worn uniforms, gloves, and baseball equipment. The unique quality of the collectible is what JT Sports is all about. Give them a call at 609-487-8003 or check them out at GameUseBats.com.
Okay, we are back, and Steve Verkman and Mike Hefner, they're both in the house. Before we get back to these two gentlemen, you guys saw the Lucy's Love Bus little spot. As we mentioned last week, we are partnering, Great American Collectibles Show is partnering with Lucy's Love Bus. It is a great 501c3 charity for children with cancer. If you ever want to make a donation, I don't care if it's $1, $5, $10, $40, $50 million like Hef has, you can go to lucyslovebus.org to make a contribution. And JM, I don't know if you know this, a special shout out to one of our big followers. He's been a fan since day one, Kenny Clausen. Kenny is a former big league ball player, pitcher. Kenny lives out, I think he's in Arizona. The day before yesterday, he did a quick raffle. Kenny's nephew, Jared McCain, is playing for the Philadelphia 76ers. He was the number 10 draft pick. And he raffled off a piece of memorabilia signed by Jared. All proceeds, 25 spots, quick $500 in minutes.
That's fantastic.
So Kenny, thank you very much, making a nice donation.
That's great. Kenny's a great guy.
Yeah, to Lucy's Love Bus.
Great guy.
All right, it is time right now for without a doubt, the most creative piece on this show. It's time for a Gax Blast from the Past, brought to us each week by our good friend Paul Borges and PB Collectables, your neighborhood card shop. Go to pbcollectables.com to find that special card or piece of memorabilia. This piece, it's only about a minute long. This is in honor of one Mike Hefner, who, by the way, probably has the greatest, I repeat, the greatest wrestling memorabilia collection in the free world. As a matter of fact, I had the honor, JM, of being at Hef's house and actually wearing the hat that was worn by Randy Macho Man Savage. One of the highlights of my life. That's all I'm saying. And I have a picture.
It's been a great experience.
I have a picture hanging in my office that my lovely wife took, and it's framed in my office. So this is, you're going to know, you're going to love this. And you and I talked about it. I personally think this is the greatest moment in the history of professional wrestling.
Andre is 7'5". The bell is gone. This one is officially underway. Look at the look of disdain on the face of Andre.
What's Hogan saying to him, I wonder? What could Hogan possibly be saying to him?
Certainly like to be able to read lips at this point.
He's hulking up right now.
Shoved by Andre, and the champion retaliates. Oh, big right hand blocked by the champion. And the Hulkster unloading, going for a slam. Oh, he almost got him up. Oh, he collapsed. 1, 2. 2 count only.
Was that 2 or was that 3?
2 count only.
Ooh, that was close, Gorilla.
Shoulder was up.
Oh, was that close? Andre thinks he won it just like that. Hogan is hurt. Oh, now I want to see a winner.
Absolutely. Andre now with an Irish whip in.
He's in
a hook flipped underneath that.
Oh, he dropped
the big guy. Look at Heenan. He's been out of shape.
You got to love Bobby the Brain Heenan. You got to love him.
One of the greats, man.
Look at the look on the face of the champion.
This is classic.
I know you guys can't see it, but you'll enjoy it.
That adrenaline can do goodness. We're seeing what this guy is really made of. What he is. The greatest professional athlete in the world today. Look at this.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Dropping a big leg. Over for the cover. It's over.
Unbelievable. I never thought it could be done, Gorilla.
I get emotional. I get emotional watching that. I'm telling you right now. I get emotional.
So, Zap, was that Gorilla and Jesse the Body?
No. It was Hulk Hogan and.
No.
Oh yeah. That was Jesse the Body and Gorilla Monsoon.
And Gorilla on the call. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Play by play.
Yeah. But that was. Hef, was that a great moment? Yes or no?
It was one of the greatest moments, if not the greatest moment. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I still think the greatest moment I ever saw was when Roddy Piper hit Jimmy Superfly Snooker with a coconut on his skull in Piper's Pit. You know, to be hit by your native fruit on national television, I don't think anything can top.
You know something, Steve? We are going to get you into big time wrestling. I'm telling you right now.
Now we're going to get wrestling, and that's going to consume the rest of the show.
That's
you know how it goes, Tom. You can't start.
We got to get Verkman. We got to get Verkman one of those Ric Flair robes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Nature boy.
So, yeah. No, that moment, you know, and what was so great about the Andre Hogan that match is that Hogan was so, you know, I've watched numerous documentaries on that, and Hogan was afraid that Andre was not going to let him win that match.
Right? Oh, really?
Right. That was a possibility.
Right.
Because Andre did not like losing. Hogan didn't think that Andre liked him, but Andre did like him, and he let them. You know, he said, "Boss, slam me." You know, whispered in his ear.
I can't believe he did it. To be honest with you, I mean,
he did it, and you know, Vince McMahon was really sketchy about that. Vince McMahon, you know, had told Andre, "Hey, you're getting slammed, you're getting pinned," and I guess Andre really didn't just walked away. So
that was a great moment
either. But that's how Andre was. Andre was like wanted to do it on his own terms. If he felt like doing it, he was going to do it. But if he didn't want to do it, you know, that could have been a whole different outcome there.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get back to our reality now. Steve, let's talk about
that is reality.
Okay, that's right. I'm sorry. I digress. Steve, let's talk about the clean sweep auction first. You have an auction going on. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, so we have a really nice auction ending Wednesday, October 9th. In this auction, the headline piece is a really cool card. We have a Voskamp's Coffee Honus Wagner. Only 3 of these have ever been graded by PSA. It's one of the rarest Honus Wagner cards. It's got a lot of great bids so far. We have a really neat collection of star Michael Jordan stuff. We opened up the packs, including the 101 and all of those. We have a lot of great vintage cards. One of my favorite parts of the auction, there's a collection we've been working on for 20 years to close, and I finally got it. And the guy specialized in regional issues and oddball cards from the 50s and 60s. So there's a Wilson Wiener, Ted Williams. There's runs of Hunters, Wieners, SK Meats, all sorts of just really, really cool stuff in there. He had a 68 top set from Vending. So there's 8s and 9s of the key cards in the 68 top set. And there's just a good wide variety of just really collectible stuff. We have a beautiful 1933 Yankee team ball. We have a Walter Johnson single sign ball. And, one of my favorite things in the auction, this is off topic a tiny bit. We have a really cool run of almost all the presidential autographs.
I noticed those. Yeah.
Wow.
Those are beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, something else, Steve, would really pique my interest is that you have an old Judge King Kelly. Great card. That's a great card.
Yeah, the old Judge Hall of Famers, especially the big names, are so undervalued. Like that and Harry Wright, those should be $10,000 cards.
Absolutely.
Any grade. I mean, it's the earliest history of baseball. They're the first superstars or the founding members of baseball. That without them, there'd be nothing.
That's the type of stuff that I have really kind of gravitated towards. That really funky. I have a couple of scorecards. I know there's a few of them out there, but I have a couple of scorecards from like 1895 that belonged to Harry Wright that he scored and signed. I didn't pay a lot of money for it, but that's the stuff that I really it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. Hef, you've got an auction going on right now. Yeah, obviously you've got the assigned 51 mantle, but I noticed you have an Aaron Game Used bat.
Yeah, we have an Aaron Gamer. And I'm old, so my memory is not great if I don't have that catalog or the internet.
Hey,
open
Hef, can I stop you right there? You're only
I have it right here.
Dude, you're 55 years old. All right, I just turned 59, and Zap's 81. So you're not old. All right.
He told me the other day that he was only 80.
Get your laps in.
Tom, I'm going to let you do the plugs for the auction. All I can tell people is there's 1,600 lots. They got to go to lelands.com and take a look at them.
Well, one of the things that I really, really like, that 1914 Orioles photo, that thing is gold.
Yeah,
I mean, that is a
awesome.
Beautiful piece.
And that sold out. Actually, we sold that before the whole photo boom. Photos have been going up in value the last few years, and we sold that for I think it was a record for a team photo at the time. It went for 180,000 5 years ago. So it'll be interesting to see what it sells for this.
And then you have a Jimmy Fox, his MVP trophy. See, that's the stuff that I kind of enjoy.
Yeah,
you got that. But I'll tell you what really caught my eye is that you have this. You call it the unique Mickey Mantle multi-autograph display. And it's a display. I'm going to hold it up. I don't know if we can see this, Chrissy. But this is a display of Mickey Mantle. He signed this 99 times. 99 Mickey Mantle signature, right? And in the middle of it, he says, "These pens suck." It's awesome. That is an awesome piece. Awesome piece. I don't know what was the. I don't know what the starting. Oh, that starting bid was 10,000. You know what that's at? Do you have with that?
I think it's approaching 20,000, and that's kind of piece where the whole is worth more than the sum of the parts.
Yeah.
That's not something you'd want to take and cut apart.
Right. Oh no, absolutely not.
I could see that thing. I could definitely see it selling for 50,000 or more. It's a strong possibility because it's so unique. It's so unique.
All right, let's get into. Go ahead, Hef.
I was going to say. No, it's okay. I love to hear you talk. I wanted to skip back to the merger a little bit. We can talk more about both your auctions later because I'm interested when you have two guys that have been, not such a big part of your own businesses, but hobby wide. And Hef, I know you mentioned you're kind of changing your. I love the way you said that. You're kind of restarting your life, and that's great. I love that. But how do you guys see sort of roles playing out? Let's say over the next year, with both you guys having been so hands-on in what you do. How do you see this merger, this partnership really playing out as the year progresses into 2025?
Steve, you should answer this question.
Yeah, we'll go with you, Steve.
Okay, so what we're trying to do is I have a vision for both companies. So what we're trying to do, we're not looking to cut expenses. We're not looking to combine things to reduce our overhead. We're looking to grow both companies. So we feel very strongly that these brands beautifully complement each other. So if you have a whole collection of stuff and you have your $10,000 items and your $50,000 items and your $100,000 items, they're going to go great in the Leland's Classic auction. But what our company can offer, which no one else can do, is we have 4 different types of other auctions where we can precisely match the right market for your stuff. So like Clean Sweep Auctions, we have a $5 reserve card auction, which kills, by the way. That gets over 10,000 bids. For regular stuff, things worth $50 to $2,000, especially collector grade and oddball stuff. We have an auction for mid-level memorabilia. So if you have, $500 single sign balls and $150 magazines and $100 tickets, retail value, we can precisely market it. Other auction companies, this stuff's going to get thrown into large lots. They're going to be in a weekly auction. It's going to be in an encore auction with 3,500 lots. Our Collectors First auction group is going to allow people to be just much better taken care of. And ultimately, that's going to lead to much higher prices for your entire collection. I mean, look, to be honest, anyone could probably sell a Babe Ruth single sign baseball or a 52 Bowman off PSA 5, plus or minus a trading range. But the questions collectors should ask themselves is who's going to take care of the entire collection, have the expertise to understand the memorabilia, the cards, the autographs, the tickets, and also if they have non-sport stuff. So we feel strongly that our company has more expertise in a broader range of material than anyone else, and therefore we'll do better with your collection.
All right, so let's I'm going to ask both of you guys this question. Let's use Jordan Gilroy as an example. So if Jordan gets a consignment, he's got it in his hand, then you guys or Steve, you'll make the decision as to what auction it's going to go in?
Well, yeah, pretty much things would stay the same. So all the top material, or a lot of the top material will go into Leland's auction. And then depending on the situation where it makes sense, the top clean sweep auction, we're going to rebrand it the Champions auction. We'll put things in there as well. So it gives us a much broader bandwidth, distribution channel to sell a lot more stuff, and to do it the right way. We don't have to jam too many things in one auction. We could spread things out where people have duplication, and just take more care that the stuff is done in the right way. So eliminating, lots that don't make sense, and eliminating, repetition, and creates marketing opportunities because we'll have a broader range of material.
So a follow-up to my question. So at National, let's use the National as an example. I'm assuming that Leland's and Clean Sweep will still have separate booths similar to REA and Huggins?
That's...
Okay. I wanted to make sure that, that was the case. JM?
No, I just had a question, and we can keep it with Steve, but I'd like Hef to chime in on it too, because I read a quote from you, Steve, that our goal is to help collectors unbundle their collections, and I thought that was an interesting quote. Can you just talk about that a little bit? What that phrase means to you? Because I think it's an interesting way of putting it.
No, that's a great question. Thanks for asking. So someone has a collection of autographed baseballs, and they have 1,000 baseballs. We're going to be able to do a lot more with it. We can sell the Larry Doby balls and things like that by themselves. They're not going to go in large lots. So we can focus on spreading it out more carefully in a smarter way, in a more judicious way, through, we're going to have, there's 3 different types of clean sweep auctions. There's the Leland's Classic auction and the Leland's pop-up auction. And depending on the situation, if for the right collection or 2 collections, we might just give them their own auction as a Leland's pop-up auction. So there's all sorts of fun and creative things we can do because we have access to, really, 5 different types of auction formats. So we can find the right fit for people's collection and do it the right way. I know it's a stupid cliche, but we're not going to put a square peg in a round hole. We're going to handle things the right way.
Can you talk about the customer service aspect of that? Sorry, Zap.
No, that's fine.
Well, I think we've always been Leland's and Clean Sweep. We've always been very, very personable. You can call here, and I know there's some other companies, we'll let them remain nameless, but that you call and basically you get a recording and please press 1 if, please press 2. And it's very hard to talk to anyone there.
Well, I could get miles out of that, but I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Nameless, but Leland's is not like that. I don't think Leland's ever wants to be like that, nor does Clean Sweep. I'll speak for both of us. And you can call here and get an expert on the phone immediately. We don't have to transfer you to Hawaii and then back to Alaska and then over to Pennsylvania. We can get you on with somebody immediately, and they can answer your questions. Likewise, if you have something that you won in an auction. You don't have to go through 20 people to get to the person here. Here's the shipper. He's going to tell you the tracking number. He's going to tell you where it is. And, there's something nice about that. People call it mom and pop, but I like to call it, being personable and professional.
All right. So Steve and Hefner on the show with us. Just before we take a quick break, I love what you're saying, Hef. The customer service aspect is awesome. Like, for instance, if someone were to ask you, hey, Hef, I have a 1912 opening day ticket to the first Red Sox game of all time.
Oh, man, this thing again.
What are your thoughts on that? All right, that's just an inside joke, folks. We're going to take a quick break. Steve is in the house. Hef is in the house. We'll be right back.
Pristine Auction is a family-owned and operated online auction specializing in autographed memorabilia, sports cards, coins, art, and collectibles. Since their founding in 2010, they've grown to 2 facilities in Phoenix, Arizona, totaling over 60,000 square feet. Jared Cavalier and an incredible staff of over 150 team members serve a very large customer base and enjoy every minute of it. By working with leading authentication companies, Pristine ensures all items are 100% authentic. In addition, third-party authenticators regularly travel to Pristine Auction to provide authentication services on site. Pristine Auction strives to operate its business in a way that's honoring to God, their families, and their customers. With a strong focus on speed, quality, and premier customer service, their mission is to be the leading online auction for every level of collector and fan. Pristine also works for Hope Sports and Identity Hoops International, traveling to Mexico to build houses for the less fortunate. Pristine Auction offers several online auction formats with thousands of auctions ending each day. For more information, go to pristineauction.com. That's Pristine Auction, the best in the business.
If you're a discerning collector interested in owning the most important pieces in the hobby, look no further than Leland's Auctions. The original sports auction and appraisal house, Leland's was established in 1985 by legendary Pioneer founder Joshua Leland Evans. And today, President Mike Hefner carries on the tradition. From the Tom Brady card and memorabilia collection to the famed Boston Garden auction to high-end card auctions from every major sport, Leland's has always maintained the highest standards. Go to Lelands.com and get your bid in. That's Leland's, the hobby's leading sports auction house for 4 decades.
It's often been said that championships are won on the practice field, and world records come only to those willing to work harder than everybody else. Heritage Auctions is the world's largest collectibles auctioneer because we believe that becoming the best is only an invitation to the challenge of remaining the best. This requires the skills of the hobby's top experts, capable of identifying and maximizing value for our consigners. It requires the most visited website in the industry, courting a global audience of collectors over 1.5 million strong. It requires a dedicated press department that expands our global reach far beyond the entrenched hobby marketplace. It's hard work, but a simple premise. Present the finest collectibles to the largest population of potential buyers, and world records will come. We invite all listeners to put the unmatched power of Heritage Auctions to work for you. Auction evaluations are always free, and our commission-based fee structure ensures that our interests are always aligned. The highest possible price for your collectibles. There will always be new world records to chase, so let's chase them together. Visit our website at ha.com and request your no-obligation review today.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
Hey, I'm Mike Petroselli. If your company is looking for the best in marketing and promotional items, you'll hit a home run with Petroselli Marketing. With over 8,000 suppliers and 650,000 imprint-ready items, we can get your company the visibility it needs to get your maximum exposure. Whether it be office promotions, wearables, automotive, sports items, and everything in between, Petroselli Marketing can do it all. Our design staff will even work with you from concept to delivery and customize your products. At Petroselli Marketing Group, we will get your brand in front of your audience. Contact us at info@petrosellimkt.com or call us at 603-880-3202. That's Petroselli Marketing, where no dream is impossible.
So, how does your company or organization do promotions? Imprinted products keeps your brand in front of your customers more than any other form of advertising for the best on-time service and new ideas for your next project. Give Petroselli Marketing Group a call at 603-880-3202 or email info@petrosellimkt.com.
Hey, Jan, before we get back to Steve and Hef, why don't you tell our audience about our good friend Joe Drellick and the gang at East Coast Sports Marketing and the CSA shows.
You got it, brother. CSA Shows is proud to present the Chantilly Show, being held October 18th to the 20th, held at the Dulles Expo Center in Chantilly, Virginia, just minutes from the Dulles International Airport, celebrating 28 years. At the same location, there'll be over 450 dealer tables, exhibiting on over 125,000 square feet of space. With both vintage sport cards and memorabilia as well as modern-day sports treasures, you won't have to look very far for that special card, bat, ball, or autograph. Major auction houses and third-party grading companies will be on site to assist you with your collecting and authentication needs. Some of your favorite superstars will be on hand, including Brett Favre, Jerome Bettis, Oscar Robertson, Karl Malone, Alan Trammell, and many more. Over 40 guests in total. For more information, go to www.csashows.com. That's the Chantilly Show, where you can find all of your sports collectible treasures.
You know, sadly, we had to remove a name that was going to be appearing at the CSA shows, and that was Pete Rose. We lost one of the great ones, and I want to get your thoughts, guys. But, JM, you posted on your personal Facebook page, you made a comment, and I could not have agreed with you more. I know you took some flack for it, but why don't you tell us what you said, and I want to get the thoughts of both Steve and Hef.
Yeah, no, my only comment was, you know, and it happens so many times when someone has a situation like Rose, which, listen, he brought on himself. I have nothing against, you know, Bart Giamatti. He did the right thing at the right time. I just think there's a time factor here, and I feel bad that over time with Pete paying his dues, that they didn't make some. Look, sports changes its rules all the time. Okay, I'm not saying you should have been allowed to manage again, but something should have been done so that he could have at least gone into the Hall of Fame. And I don't want him to do it now that he's dead. Okay, and I kind of put it on the writers. I know it's not the writers. He was banned by MLB, not the writers. But the writers have a lot of power, too. And I don't think anyone's really ever stepped up for Pete. I know there's guys that support him. I've seen people in the media since his death come out and say it. But I just don't want him to be hypocritical now and find some way to put him in. And I mean baseball and the writers. That's what I don't want to see. He should have done it when he was alive. I mean, we all know what gambling is in sports now, all right? I mean, every sport has deals now with these gambling companies, online betting. The times have changed, and it should have been done, whether it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, or 10 years ago. I think he paid his dues, and he should have been not back in baseball, but allowed to be put into the Hall of Fame. That was my point.
Steve?
I mean, yeah, I'm actually a big Reds fan, and I love the Reds. And originally, I thought I was one of the people who thought maybe he didn't do it, but I don't think it's a precedent you can accept. If you put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame, knowing he was the gambler, I think the gambling stuff is a huge mistake in sports right now.
I do too.
A kicker, a relief pitcher, a scrub player. Someone hit the free throw line is going to get handed millions of dollars,
and it's going to happen eventually. I feel strongly about that.
Well, it's already happened. The guys have already been suspended for that, Steve.
It's dangerous as hell. They've gotten themselves into that because they couldn't resist the money. The marketing is everywhere. That's all you hear about, odds and parlays. The guys shouldn't be doing it on the shows. The NBA guys do it. It's terrible what they're doing. So if you're going to allow a player to do that, you have to, unfortunately, it hurts Rose in a way. You have to take a harder line position because if that goes in, that's not going to give the players any pause. I mean, it tough as it is what he went through, maybe that's the one thing that for certain players can go on. But the problem is, my theory on the gambling is it's probably not the Hall of Fame player that's going to throw the game. So it's like they're ever going to get in the Hall of Fame anyway. They're not going to look at it like that. Yeah. But still, I think sports is at a very important inflection point now, which I think is a mistake what they've done. And so, unfortunately, I think he's a side effect of that. That you can't posthumously do it, and I think that hurt him.
Hef?
Yeah, I was one of the biggest Pete Rose fans and collectors on the planet. I still have a very, very large collection of Pete Rose memorabilia. Pete Rose, the ball player, to me, there was pretty much none better. Nobody who played with more heart, nobody who played as well with less natural talent. The guy just worked his butt off every single game, every single year, and it showed. But unfortunately, Pete Rose the person is different than Pete Rose the ball player. He had so many times, and I don't want to get in depth here, but I don't feel bad. I mean, this is his punishment. Let's face it. They did this to punish him. They kept him out, and they may put him in now. And that is his true punishment, not being able to see the day that he does.
Yeah, see, that's why I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
I'd rather him not get in. I'd rather him.
But
not
on
get
the other hand, Tom, the problem is he had so many chances to redeem himself.
Yeah, he did.
So many
That's true.
chances, and he went around and he continued to do the things that he did, and he continued to sign baseballs. I did this, I did that. Stuff like that. That did not look good. So on one hand,
that's a good point.
One hand, yes, it's not fair. On another hand, he could have done a whole lot more to make it better.
I think when the scandal broke, or a few years later, he would have. I mean, I'm going to get in trouble for this. I think he had to go on TV, get the tissues out, start crying, and when he wrote that book, any of those books about baseball, donated all of the money to Gamblers Anonymous. Something like that. Then the press put on baseball to let him tear apology. And, you have to get the tears out with the tissue.
Yeah, he really didn't. He did. He had
and that wasn't his style.
Yeah, he had no remorse. I mean, he really did enjoy it.
Yeah.
No, instead he went around signing baseballs with
But guys, I do think we'll close the book on it here because I know we got to get to stuff. But I do think that you have to split the ball player and the person. I've heard a lot of people, Mike, echo your thoughts that he wasn't the nicest guy and wasn't the best person. But there's a lot of bad people in a lot of Hall of Fames.
Yeah,
it's what you do on the field, you know. So,
all right. Did you know that by the way, JM, that this is the 20-year anniversary of the Long Island National?
That's incredible. I love that.
Yeah, good. Did you know that because that was a lead-in, you're supposed to do the live read for this?
I know, but you would look like you were about to do it. I thought you were about to do it. You had a piece of paper. It's the only thing
it
you've
was
ever
a lead-in.
prepared.
I was leading you.
You actually did show prep, and I thought you were going to do it. I was going to say, go for it, my man. Anyway, celebrating the 20-year anniversary of the Long Island National, October of 2004 to October of 2024. Pretty good. JP Sports and Rock Solid Promotions is pleased to present the Fall Classic Hofstra Sports Card Show, the Long Island National, Saturday, October 26th and Sunday, October 27th. Held at Hofstra University, David S. Mack Sports Complex, 245 Hofstra Northern Boulevard, Hempstead, New York. Shop over 400 of your favorite hobby dealer tables on over 40,000 square feet of the sports collectibles paradise of vintage and modern-day sports cards and memorabilia. Major auction houses and third-party grading companies will be on site to assist you with your collecting and authentication needs. The Fall Classic is family-friendly, and all kids 12 and under get in free. You must be accompanied by a parent or guardian, however. Autographed guests to include Joe Klecko, Tony Armas, Tony Perez, lots of Tonys, Andrew Jones, George Foster, Pierre Turgeon, Omar Vizquel, Devon White, Otis Nixon, and many more. Go to nyshows.org for tickets and more information about the Fall Classic at the Hofstra Mack Center on Long Island, New York. That's nyshows.org.
All right, listen, we have about 2 minutes. Bullet questions. You guys ready? You have 10 seconds to answer. Hef, are you happy with the direction of the hobby, the direction the hobby's going in?
Neutral.
Okay. Steve.
All right.
Yeah, I concur.
You're killing me. You're both killing me. All right. Another question. Hef, are you happy with the way things are going with security in the hobby?
Security meaning?
Security meaning problems at shows, all the theft going on, the breaking and enterings because of what's happening to the value of cards and memorabilia.
I still, I mean, the security could be better at a lot of shows, but I think it's being stepped up, and that's a good thing.
Okay. Steve?
I think it's a major problem. I spoke to one of the big promoters, and I gave him a really good idea, and I think he's going to listen to me. Is to have the security guards do the parking lot after the show also, when the dealers are putting things in their car. Because if you were a thief and you wanted to take somebody out, that's when you would do it. Why bother with the show? Because everybody's going to leave. So I think there's a lot of trouble, and it's disturbing.
All right, last question. I personally have a problem. You guys may disagree with me. We talked about it last week. There's kind of like a little undercurrent of professional ball players, baseball players, swapping cards with other ball players and signing them and making comments so that card becomes a one of one. And we're seeing it a lot where, I don't know, I'm just using examples where an Aaron Judge and Ohtani, they swap cards, they make a little comment to each other, and that card now is a famous card, one of one. What the hell is that all about? Hef.
I have a problem with it because those cards are not necessarily the property of the player. The card company needs to enforce that. You know, when they send these cards to get signed, a lot of the players don't sign them or they keep you for themselves. And that shouldn't be. If you get 50 cards, you have to sign them. It should be a 1 of 50. It should not be a 1 of 47. So that also is hurting the collector. So I don't like it.
Steve?
Yeah, I don't like it either.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, it's aggravating. All right, listen, we're out of time. You guys, we are so thrilled for both
Absolutely.
of you. Was thrilled
Very
for both
excited,
of you.
yeah.
I think you guys are onto something. I think you're going to create a phenomenal business. All the input that I've gotten, that I've heard, has all been positive because of your reputations of both companies. So, with that being said, Hef, I'm glad you're going to keep your toe in the water. Steve, congratulations on this merger. Steve, you're going to be in Wilmington?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
How many people are you going to have with you?
Well, I guess we'll have 4 people working on 2 booths.
Is it just Jordan going to be there? I'm taking.
I'm not sure who's going yet.
Because I'm taking a sandwich inventory.
They'll probably send one along. They'll bring it back for me too.
Okay, so we're taking
I'll send the cooler up.
All right, we're going to a new deli this year. The old deli kind of has gone downhill, so we have a new Italian deli we're going to, and we'll be bringing you guys sandwiches at the Shriners. With that being said, Steve, thanks so much. Hef, love you guys.
Thank you.
And to JM, I hope you get out of house jail. And to our viewers and to our audience, again, thanks for all the support. We love you. Happy collecting.
No, thank you.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.